Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Highly Suspicious Podcast with Louie and Preston. My name is Louie.
I'm Preston.
We have a very special episode planned today. We are going to be talking about the newest Marvel phenomenon, Spider-Man No Way Home. If you're not a Marvel fan, we get it. There should still be nuggets in the conversation to enjoy because this isn't going to be serious.
Yeah.
Neither of us are Marvel fanboys like that. So,
I'm a nerd. I'm into comics and shit like that. I don't even read comics. I just sit on Wikipedia and just go through the lore and shit.
Yeah.
That's the kind of nerd that I am. The brand, but I like the movies. I still haven't watched every Marvel movie, and I used to be the sort of person that was like, I have to watch every one because they're all connected, and watch them in order.
I feel like Endgame was a good time to kind of get off the train, because I was like that before Endgame, but now so much different shit's releasing, and
I can't keep up with all the shows and shit.
Yeah,
I don't really like the shows, even.
Yeah.
I've heard Loki's really good, and I will probably watch Loki at some point.
I've heard mixed things about, every single TV show.
I've tried watching WandaVision.
I've
tried watching it twice now. I got halfway through, and then I was like, no, I literally have forgotten everything. I need to go back, get a little refresher. It's just kind of slow. And I know that's the one that's going to be, really fucking important to the next Doctor Strange movie. Mm-hmm. And I love Doctor Strange.
So, I think the first question that I should ask is, with the hype surrounding this movie, everyone's been talking about it. Did it exceed expectations? Did it fall short a little bit? Or did it just meet in the middle? Because I'd say the consensus is it's the best Spider-Man in the trilogy, and probably one of the best Spider-Mans in general.
Interesting. So it really blew you away.
No, that's the consensus.
That's the consensus? You don't agree?
I don't think this is the best Spider-Man.
I don't think it's the best Spider-Man movie ever of, all the Spider-Man movies either way.
Because the original Spider-Mans were so good.
Yes, and I like the first Marvel MCU Spider-Man. Homecoming's so fucking good.
I think so too.
I feel like you can watch it on its own without any other context, and it's a great movie. And that's what makes the best Marvel movies are the ones that aren't ultra tied in.
Because the separation has really begun between the fanboys and the people that are just mildly interested.
The people who make TikTok or YouTube videos about this shit versus the people that just watch the movies. Yeah. Honestly.
I don't really think that a good movie should necessarily rely on all this other shit that's already happened. I'm glad that I watched some of the older Spider-Mans before this for reference, and it made me appreciate a few things in this movie more, but I definitely don't think it's the best Spider-Man movie.
Is this episode going to be chock full of spoilers? If you haven't seen it by now, fuck you.
Yeah,
let's go for it.
This is, we're a few weeks past release date.
Yeah. And if you really care, you've seen it by now. I think it's really funny that, what everybody's predicting about it was kind of right and kind of wrong. I didn't love the twist on the villains. It was kind of annoying.
Just the older villains?
No. I loved seeing the older villains. That was great.
Caveat.
That was better than seeing the old Spider-Man.
Caveat, I loved seeing some of the old villains.
Which one did you not like?
Well, the Amazing Spider-Man villains just weren't that good. Jamie Foxx's Electro in the regular Amazing Spider-Man, he was just this nerdy guy who ended up with powers, and this one, he kind of had a swagger to him. He was acting... Jamie Foxx was just playing Jamie Foxx.
They got altered. Clearly they got altered. Which is fair. Who knows how interdimensional travel works, so maybe they got rubbed off by cosmic energy or whatever, but
I don't think that Green Goblin was different. I don't think that Dr. Octopus was different. I literally watched...
And the lizard could talk.
Could he not before?
He could not before.
I did not.
I swear to God, as a lizard in The Amazing Spider-Man, he did not talk. Unless I'm tripping. But I'm pretty damn positive he wasn't walking around talking.
Okay, let's let's start at the beginning, because it kind of starts off right where the last movie left off, where everyone finds out who Spider-Man is. And I want to say that the best thing that this movie has going for it is the actors. Because Tom Holland is acting his ass off. Zendaya is amazing.
This is a whole debate on who's the best Spider-Man. I honestly think Andrew Garfield is like a good Spider-Man, but not a good Peter Parker. I think Tobey Maguire is a great Spider-Man. Like, works as Peter Parker, though he is fucking old in those movies to be Peter Parker. I think Tobey Maguire is like the Spider-Man of my childhood, so there's nostalgia there. Andrew Garfield, kind of he's like, they decided they wanted him to be a skater boy, be kind of edgier. I do think he's like, they show him as really fucking smart, which is cool, because I didn't get that so much from Tobey Maguire.
This movie made me appreciate Andrew Garfield a lot more.
Yeah. And that's what he's been saying too, is he loved being able to tie up the character more, kind of go a little bit deeper on like how Gwen's death affected the character and shit like that.
Yeah.
Which in the comics is also a really big thing. Like, Spider-Man is a dark fucking character in the comics. Everyone he loves dies at some point.
And honestly, Spider-Man's a dark character in this one because, well, we're gonna skip around a little bit, because we kind of have to. But Aunt May fucking dies. She gets caught up by Green Goblin. She gets hit hard as fuck.
Well, and because of course she does, because like I said, that's what Spider-Man like does. Like, everyone he loves will fucking die. I think Tom Holland is the best balance between Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Like, he's the best Peter Parker.
Definitely.
I don't know if he's the best Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I don't like how he fits in the universe. I don't like that I didn't get an origin story. They're supposed to be making a show for that.
I did like that
we didn't
get an origin story.
Everybody knows Spider-Man's origin story.
Twice already.
So they didn't need to show it, which works, and they picked up at a great point. Like, he's still just becoming Spider-Man. But they're supposed to be doing like an animated series on Disney Plus that's explaining when he got bit by a spider, and it's like his freshman year or something like that.
Yeah.
I saw a theory video talking about how maybe there's no Oscorp in the story. Like, we haven't seen Oscorp anywhere.
Yeah.
And we'd probably see it. The theory was that Spider-Man went to like Stark Expo, and that's where he got bit by the spider. Is that like Tony was had the radioactive spider.
I thought something that was really cool about this is it kind of showed the difference between all the Spider-Mans, because Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland, they had some powers from the spider.
Yeah.
But they had to have like
they had to build web
shooters.
Okay, so
I thought that was really funny.
For Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, they did do a scene of him building web shooters, and then decided to go with the like bio web shooters, which is kind of fucking gross. Like, just imagine you get bit by a spider and you grow whole ass organs. No, what would make the most sense, Louis, is he shoots webs out of his ass like a real goddamn spider, or throws them up out of his mouth. Like, why are they in his wrists?
My thing.
It's convenient.
My thing with the web shooter separated from the crawly thing, like, why would he have to make web shooters in the first place just because he can crawl and he was bit by a spider? He really just chose, hey, I'm going to lean into this whole spider thing. I'm going to be the spider.
The spider.
But Tobey Maguire was just like, well, I am the spider, because he was bit by a spider, and he could shoot webs like a spider, and he could climb like a spider. The other two could just climb. That's all they could do. And they were like, you know what I need?
And like, they have a spider sense and whatever.
But it's not even called the spider sense. They really only have the power to crawl, and they decided, I'm gonna go full spider.
Well, they got bit by a spider, though. Like, they know they got bit by a spider.
But
like, that's why they're Spider-Man, because they're like, oh, I got bit by a spider, guess I'm Spider-Man.
Wasn't Jamie Foxx's Electro's like backstory that he got caught up with like a bunch of like electric
Yup.
eels.
He fell
What-
into a tank full of genetically mutated electric eels, I'm pretty sure.
What if instead
What if
of
he came out
Electro,
and was
he
like, I'm Eel Man?
That's what we're talking about, though. Well,
I can't process.
Well, I got my powers from the electric eels, so I'm going to embrace the eel. I'm going to slither like an eel.
I don't even know what Electro's origin is in the comics, though. Like, he probably had some mysterious liquid that he either drank or it, like, spilled on him. And next thing you know, he's Electro.
Did you think that it was kind of hypocritical that Tom Holland was trying to be like the better Spider-Man, and then when he went dark, the other two Spider-Mans kind of held him back from like killing Green Goblin at the end? Cause like the other two Spider-Man killed their ops. Like Green Goblin is dead in the movie. Dr. Octopus is dead in the movie because they fucking killed them.
Tom Holland's a good boy.
But that's not what I'm saying. It was Tobey Maguire then be like, no, don't kill other villains. And it's like, you smoked this dude
killed
first.
Everybody. No, Doc Ock sacrificed himself in the end. And Green Goblin...
It was an accident.
Died. He sort of killed himself too.
It was Spider-Man though. Let's be real.
He is a menace, yeah.
Tobey Maguire was like, he took great pleasure in fucking killing Green Goblin.
What do you... Kills Aunt May. I would definitely kill the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Electro's origin in the comics is he literally got struck by lightning while working on a power line.
That's kind of cool.
He'd be fucking dead. Why is he special?
People can
honestly
survive
though.
That.
Well, honestly, true. Working on a power line, that's a lot more electricity that you might be running through you. But also in the comics, a lot of the times for characters like that, where their origin story makes no sense whatsoever, they'll be like, "Oh, that's when their mutant gene activated," because some humans just have dormant mutant genes that'll be triggered by events like that.
I want to talk about the multiverse.
Yeah,
because
there's a lot of possibilities.
There's a lot of possibilities. And it's obvious why Marvel did it. They want to incorporate like the X-Men and all these other properties into
the new X-Men series. It's like I fuck with
all
of the X-Men shit.
And
favorite superhero movies.
In the multiverse was a good like vehicle for like the next like Doctor Strange shit.
Yeah.
And shit like that. But it doesn't make sense. It makes no fucking sense because
it's all magic. It's not science. It's magic. It's where science and magic overlap because apparently there's some shit with like
alchemy.
No, not. What are you talking about? Alchemy.
That's a mix between science.
It kind of is. You know how they did the time traveling shit? That's basically like going through realities, and like through that they created alternate realities, like the Loki series, but also what is it that when they go subatomic in Ant-Man, where do they go? Where there's like cities on smaller things like atoms or whatever, the Quantumverse or whatever the fuck. That is also like a weird area because there are some things that I've seen where it's like explaining that it kind of looks like the realm that Dormammu's in, and like the time traveling thing being science, but like the current multiverse that we're seeing being magic. Like there's clearly overlap where just like magic is really them just distorting reality.
So there's some science to it.
Right.
And up to this point, they've tried to make everything make sense.
Right.
And with all of these, like, I mean, the first Avengers movie, that's what it was. It was, oh, we're having all the different superheroes that you know and love together from their own movies into the same movie. And now they're trying to do that with different dimensions.
Yeah.
And it makes no fucking sense because all of them are from different like ambiguous times.
Yeah.
Like we don't know when these people are from. Just all we know is that, you know, Green Goblin and Doc Ock are all being teleported in from some point before they died.
Right.
which
Well,
doesn't
it seems
make
to
any
be
sense.
in the movie right before they died. Like, they are about to die, and then they got pulled into the MCU. Because they ask a couple of them, like, what's the last thing you remember? Then they're like, it basically leads up to their death. And they're like, and then I was here.
The story behind it is Doctor Strange was doing his little spell to make everyone forget
that's a pretty big
Peter
spell.
Parker is Spider-Man. But then Peter Parker
Starts fucking with the spell.
starts being like, oh, I want to fuck Zendaya still, so please don't make them forget about me. So, like, that, for some reason, fucks it up to the point where people who just know Spider-Man or are Spider-Man teleport into this dimension.
Well, so
and it just happens to be
the explanation...
the two other...
I know, and I get that there could have been other spider people. That would have been kind of cool for them to show some that we haven't seen before. But they kind of explain that, like, he fucked with the spell, and obviously the spell is altering reality by making everybody who now knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man forget that he is. And so by messing with a reality warping spell, it kind of created this issue of pulling in these other realities.
But... why would that...
I want to know.
Why would that bring in the other Spider-Mans, though?
I don't know. And it really could have brought in any other Spider people. Like, it could have been Spider-Gwen or Miles Morales. Though, I think they're going to make Miles Morales be, like, a regular MCU character.
In this dimension.
Because Donald Glover, his character is literally his uncle.
Yeah, right.
Who is the Prowler. Mm-hmm. I want him to come back as the Prowler. I want Donald Glover in the MCU as the Prowler. I bet that'll be awesome.
I don't think they introduced that for no reason. I think they're definitely
if everything's an Easter egg and everything's connected, he has to return. Like, that would be so awesome.
I have the unpopular opinion that Into the Spider-Verse, the animated one, is not very good.
Dude, it's super good.
But that's definitely something
from an animation perspective, soundtrack.
And the list stops there.
Storyline.
No.
I like the storyline.
It's generic as fuck.
It is generic as fuck.
And it's fucking stupid.
That's okay. But, it's a kid's movie.
I don't care. I'm not a kid.
Oh, man.
That's something they did better than this movie because they were like, oh, let's get all the different Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't necessarily make sense because they had, like, the cartoon one. They had, like, the
which
the
would have
pig
been
one.
Awesome. And it's, like, less convenient to the MCU. But I think it would have been funnier. I think it would have been more, like, practical.
It just would have made more sense because it just felt like it was fucking shoehorned in.
Oh,
and to me, it just seemed like Marvel was cocky at this point.
So, my thing is, they show villains from both Spider-Man movies. And, like, they're in those movies. Mm-hmm. And so they're in those universes. Venom shows up in the MCU.
Yeah.
Which Spider-Man is he associated with? Do you think he's in Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire's universe?
Maybe neither. But,
then why isn't there another fucking Spider-Man?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
I think he's in Andrew Garfield's.
It would make sense.
It makes the most sense. I feel like they fit together as characters more. And, like, you haven't seen as many superheroes or villains or whatever.
So they, like, the end credit scene is when we see that what's dude's name? Venom. It doesn't matter.
Alter ego.
He gets he's just like sitting in a diner, and he's talking his shit, and he's like watching TV, and it's really stupid. But the only point of it was to show that Venom's going to be in this universe now.
Because the Venom symbiote from the Venom movie is now in the MCU. Because a little piece of it got left behind, which I think is really weird. I don't think that made sense either. Like, why did that piece come off? Why did it not go back with him? Because magic should have transported, like, literally every single atom of his existence back.
What makes the little drop of fucking Venom just
special?
Not apply to magic.
However, in the comics, there's also a thing of, like, symbiotes are really powerful. Like, in the whole story of Marvel Comics, like, the symbiotes are actually really powerful alien species.
Then why can he get killed by someone who was bit by a spider? Answer me that, Preston.
Because spiders are really powerful, apparently.
I have the strength of a spider.
Well, they do like say, it's like scaling it up. So you see a spider book it. Spiders can move pretty fast compared to their size.
Yeah.
So like if you scale that up to a human being, that's really fucking fast for a human being. And for like, they scale up the strength of a spider. I don't know how strong spiders are. Apparently they're really fucking strong.
I wouldn't fuck with a spider.
Yeah. Well, and then the webs are like, like actual spider webs are really fucking strong.
Yeah.
For their size.
Right.
And so the web shooters are definitely an overpowered device because they're unbelievably strong. They just be stopping shit. Like, you'll see something falling and Spider-Man shoots a web at it and it's just like, it bounces a little bit and then it's just stopped midair.
I think they nerfed that a little bit in the movies.
Because you'll see the webs break and I'm like, no.
Right.
Real spider webs wouldn't even break.
Like in the second original Spider-Man movie, like when he's trying to stop the train and that famous
that's such a good scene.
He's like shooting at the buildings.
Well, he has multiple webs at one point and that does stop it. And I get that because there's more force like going into it.
Right.
But those movies are so good.
So where would this rank? I would comfortably put it over the Andrew Garfield ones.
Easily. I
would comfortably put it over the second Marvel one and the third original one with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. I think the first and second Spider-Man movies
are at the top.
Are really fucking good. Like, together they're great. On their own, they're great.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, they're kind of floating together in my mind. I feel like this and those two and Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
I didn't like Far From Home that much. It was good, it was cool, and I liked Mysterio, but it was a little aggravating at certain points, and like...
I really liked...
it wasn't as fun.
I liked parts of the second one, and when it first came out, I was a much bigger fan of it.
Yeah.
But I cooled down on it a lot, just because I started thinking about it a little bit, and Mysterio's power is just that he does, like, holograms and shit. Yep. And it was just kind of like, okay, bro. Because, I mean, what I like more about Homecoming, like, what's the dude's name? Vulture?
Vulture's a badass villain.
He has his backstory, and it makes sense, and it's, connected with the movie, and he's not like this, he's not like Thanos, he's not somebody where it's like, why is a 15-year-old fighting this kid?
Yeah.
Because it just makes sense, it all goes well together.
Yeah. Well, and he's like, I don't know, he feels like a part of the universe.
Yeah.
And they kind of tried to show Mysterio's backstory a little bit, where he worked for Tony Stark and he was fucking jealous or whatever the fuck.
But that was kind of
shitty.
That was kind of Vulture's.
Yeah. Well, and they he in the comics he's like a special effects dude, and like that would have been fine. I would have been fully satisfied if they were like, this man's just evil and really good at special effects. And, like, that happened way too much in the comics, too. Where it's just like, somebody does this job. They decide to start committing crimes related to their day job. So, like, guy who's really good at special effects decides to use special effects to rob bank. That is the, like, origin story for Mysterio in the comics.
Yeah.
For Electro, guy who works for power company gets struck by electricity, decides to rob bank. Like,
bro, some of the villains in this just didn't need to be here.
Yeah.
Cause like, who the fuck cares about the Lizard Man, bro? Cause he did almost nothing.
He did almost nothing. Movie. Electro was ready to fuck some shit up, and I did think it was cool that he got like an arc reactor at one point. I was like, you know what? I saw the picture of that at one point and was like, oh shit, he's about to be really overpowered.
He didn't do that much, though.
He didn't do that much, though. He should have been overpowered, honestly. But then they were like, oh, 3 Spider-Men can totally stop this guy. Which, it was funny to see them all learn how to, like, coordinate.
Yeah. Some of the conversations they had were just hilarious.
Oh yeah.
How did you feel? We're jumping all over the place.
They lightweight did the meme too, where they point at each other.
They did.
And I was like, yes, they did it. That's all I wanted from the crossover.
From this whole movie.
That's all I wanted.
So, I want to talk about Doc Ock's introduction. Mm-hmm. How he's fucking up like the expressway, and I think that's great just for the moment where he takes Peter's mask off and he's like, "You're not Peter Parker." I thought that was as fuck
good.
That was in the trailers, but I was kind of avoiding the
honestly
trailers.
One of the times where I've really appreciated special effects, because like you can watch those movies and yeah, those like his claws have weight and everything, and like you can feel it, but they did a really good job in some of the scenes where he just like, I think they have his arm come out from like some smoke, and it's got a lot of flow to it, and then they have him like crush a fucking car at one point, and like it just makes sense. Like I'm like, yeah, that totally just happened. My monkey brain is tricked.
I definitely wanted to talk about the scene where the other Spider-Men are introduced, because I thought that when Doc Ock was there, that like one of the other Spider-Man would just come in to save, and I'm kind of glad that they didn't do that, but it was kind of ugly the way
that they
introduced it
till later in the movie to introduce them, but I feel like it was kind of lame. They could have been a little bit cooler.
I liked that Ned, Spider-Man's friend, is able to use magic now.
Yeah.
But it was kind of stupid that he was just like, "Show me Spider-Man," and it's just Andrew Garfield lurking in an alley, and he comes in, and then he does it again, and it's Tobey Maguire dressed regularly, and he's just like, "Hey guys."
I love that Andrew Garfield said at one point, "Do you have your suit on you, or are you just gonna fight them dressed like a youth pastor?" And I was like, yes, he does look like a youth pastor. Like, he so really does. Oh my god. And he's like old, and I love the bit where they're like they crack each other's back.
Yeah.
Like, real homies do that shit, and they were totally like, he was like, yeah, I got a lower back thing too from all this swinging. Like, they made each other relatable to each other. I was like, that's great. Because that's totally what you would do if you, like, met yourself from another universe, too.
I like that they made the Tobey Maguire one old, because if they just acted like,
no time had passed.
I'm a college student. It's like, hell no.
They're like, realistically, it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
He'll look like he's 20 years older.
Yeah. And he realistically did have back pain from how many times he got fucked up with the back. Yeah. So, yeah. Did you like Andrew Garfield's redemption?
I kind of did.
You didn't?
I kind of did. Like I said earlier, like, I like that they kind of go into depth about how he's going forward and shit like that. And I like how, because Tobey Maguire, like, his Uncle Ben dies, and then he gets really mad and decides to try to fuck some people up.
Yeah.
And, like, they brought that back to be like, no, this is not what you want to do. This will not make you feel any better.
Right.
I feel like I almost wish they had brought the other Spider-Men in earlier, just for a little more time, like, for that interaction, to kind of learn more about them. Because now I just want to know more about, like, what has happened since those movies.
Because it really did feel like, we got, like, a few talking scenes, and then it was a shorter fight scene at the end, and that was it.
Andrew Garfield, literally, they're talking about all the people they fought, and he was like, well, I fought an alien, and I fought an alien in space. I've never been to space. And Andrew Garfield's like, I fought a dude in a rhino suit one time. And you're like, yeah, buddy.
They were definitely sending
his villains are all whack.
They were definitely sending shots in the Andrew Garfield movies.
I wish they had brought up, like, something new. I wish he had fought somebody else. Like, if they had just brought up an obscure character. Because there are some weird characters in the comics. They have all of this source material. Like,
But they just did all the same ones.
There's a dude in the comics who's literally a Nazi made out of bees. That's his whole character. He is a Nazi, and his consciousness was absorbed into a hive of bees. And he's very evil.
Is his name not B?
Oh God, I don't know.
That was
I
really
don't know
bad.
what his name is. You might want to cut that one out.
Nazi B, man.
It might be literally. They'll name people like that.
The two most evil things: Nazis and bumblebees.
And like,
I'm
they
surprised
could have
didn't.
just mentioned that. He could have been like, "Oh yeah, I fought a Nazi that was made out of bees one time," and like that would have been hilarious.
They should have. I feel like they should have done something more with the Andrew Garfield thing because they weren't even able to complete his trilogy. There were a lot of loose ends, so where did his story come from? That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Like, the timelines are just so arbitrary where it's like, oh, we're taking him from here, we're taking him from here. Just because it was convenient.
Yeah.
You know, here's something that I wanted to bring up. It's a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
So the actress who played Aunt May was like on a podcast like years ago talking about how like she thought it would be cool for Aunt May to have like a lesbian lover, you know. And I've heard some people suggest that they killed her off because of it. Because they didn't want to humor such things.
No way. No way. I do think it's interesting that there's never been an Uncle Ben mentioned in the MCU, who's crucial to every other Spider-Man origin story.
Yeah.
So I wonder what the fuck happened and why Peter is in the care of Aunt May. Because they don't explain any of that at all in the MCU. They haven't yet.
I think that I've always just assumed that he was on basically the same path where, you know, Uncle Ben died in a similar way and he was just left with Aunt May.
Yeah.
But theoretically, Uncle Ben could still be alive somewhere.
He could.
Like, what if the next...
Or there could be no Uncle Ben.
What if the next trilogy starts with, like, hey, I'm your cool business owner, Uncle Ben. Like a young ass Uncle Ben who's like, what if they casted like Matthew McConaughey? I would like that.
That'd be awesome. No.
Listen up, Peter. I'm gonna show you how things are done around here.
I do like in the Andrew Garfield movies how they explain what happened to his parents. Like, I think that's really cool and interesting part of the character to explore. Like, and in the MCU, that'd be awesome. They could totally make his parents, like, if they're scientists, make them really involved in the universe, because there's a lot of shit going on in the universe like that. They literally could have been working on some version of the super soldier serum or some shit.
What if Peter was just in a long line of spider people?
His parents were spider people?
Spider mom and spider dad.
Oh my god. I don't know what they're gonna do with this character. It's really confusing me.
Tom Holland?
Yeah.
Well, like you said, they have a lot of directions they can go.
Well, and now that they've made everybody forget him, like, clearly, I think he can go to Doctor Strange and explain what the fuck happened, and Doctor Strange be like, okay, I believe you. But he can't just walk up to Zendaya and be like, you used to be my girlfriend, and then you forgot who I was.
On the other side of the multiverse.
And I like how it was really cute how he goes and sees her at the diner that she works at.
I almost cried.
I almost cried too. It was really sad. Just imagine everybody you know forgetting you.
Yeah. Somebody that
That'd be
I used
really
to know.
fucking hard. And like, it was depressing when he went into his apartment. And like, then they show him moving his shit in, and then he's like, you know what? I'm still fucking Spider-Man. And like,
yeah,
but he's
broke again.
My thing is, they don't show that, like, they say, you know, everybody forgets that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So, everybody who knows Peter via Spider-Man, so like Happy,
right,
and Doctor Strange, they don't know Peter Parker, but they might know Spider-Man still.
They do know Spider-Man.
Like, he can probably still go to them as Spider-Man, and they'll know who the fuck he is. And then he just has to take off his mask.
Yeah, the spell didn't make everyone forget that Spider-Man exists. Like,
Right.
there wasn't like news reports in like a Spider-Man has appeared.
Right.
And we don't know where he came from, but
So
we're just gonna roll with it.
I think it's not gonna be too hard. I think he really does just have to like reveal his secret identity to a couple people, and then he's not all alone. But like, cause he might be fucked if he's just all by himself. Like, I think he was totally getting his web fluid through like Stark Industries or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, he does not make his own web fluid.
A lot of the technology he had was just from Stark
He used
Enterprise.
to, I guess.
Like, he didn't just like. It wasn't like the other Spider-Man movies where he was just doing all the shit himself. Like, he had this huge fucking tech corporation that loves superheroes behind him the whole time. So.
Before he... So, apparently he had only been, like, by the spider 6 months before Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, before that, he was making his own web fluid, obviously. And he had his little homemade suit. But, like, he's definitely used to having support now. Clearly. And, like, going to Doctor Strange and shit like that. And I think it's interesting because they've had the character go from, like, okay, he had a father-son relationship with Iron Man.
Uh-huh.
And then he kind of has to learn how to be a superhero on his own more in Homecoming. And then in Far From Home, he thinks he has somebody else to rely on. And they double-cross him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he realizes, well, he still has Happy. He still has Aunt May. Still has his friends.
Bitch, you thought.
Then they get rid of all of that. He goes to Doctor Strange in this movie and doesn't even have that anymore. And they were kind of showing that, like, maybe Doctor Strange is going to fill in this father figure role for Peter and, like, be guiding to him. And he clearly just tries to help him out, and then that gets fucked up. But now I think they might just have him be on his own for a while and, like, really come into his own as Spider-Man without any support.
Do you think that it's going to be like really a hard reset into the next Spider-Man trilogy? Because part of me thinks
I think they're going to need a really good villain.
Yeah.
And that'll kind of save it, because I don't think there will be many supporting characters or something unless he gets back in touch with people.
I think that how they're going to do it, or how they could do it, is they're going to introduce new people. They're going to have like a new love interest. He's going to make new friends, you know. Yeah. Or they could do the lazy thing and just have him go back to Zendaya and actually explain the shit.
Well, we're forgetting Venom too, you know.
Yeah.
And there has been some like concept art that I've seen going around of him in a black suit. But that might just be concept art because obviously eventually there will be a black suit in the MCU.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting if they have Venom.
Well, in the next Spider-Man, he could even like meet Miles Morales and take him under his wing.
Yeah.
Type shit. There's a lot.
Well, because they do show him as the leader of the Spider-Men in the fight scene.
Yeah.
Like he's the one saying, "Okay, you do this, you do that."
Well, it is his world and his stupid fucking mistakes that he's made.
Mm-hmm. But they kind of maybe have kind of set him up for a leadership role, which would work if there's another Spider-Man.
Bring Toby back. Bring Toby back. He's gonna be like 60, and he's gonna come back. He's gonna be like, back in my day. But yeah, it was a pretty good movie.
It was a pretty good movie.
Like I said, I have my gripes with it, but overall, it was really good. And I'd say it almost meets the hype.
Yeah.
The hype's kind of exceeded it just because it's
Definitely
a big
exceeded it.
Marvel movie. Like, people are saying it's flawless, that it's a masterpiece, that it's the best Spider-Man movie.
And it's definitely not.
And I don't think it is. But, I mean, it was really good.
It was good. But sometimes shit's worth watching again. And sometimes it's not. I don't feel like I need to watch this movie again. But I would totally go back and watch the Tobey Maguire first two. Like, because those feel a little more timeless and whatever.
Yeah.
I might have to watch this again just because it's one of those long-ass Marvel movies where there's a lot, and I might not have processed all of it.
Well, there were so many.
Like, I'll go back and watch stuff for Easter eggs, yeah. But that's a different story than, I really want to listen to this plot again.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. Handles in the description as always. And if you could, share the podcast with someone and give us some feedback. Thank you.